Hi guys, welcome back to BITCO Crypto. In today's video, I'm going to be answering in as short, simple and direct as possible the most frequently asked and common questions regarding BITCO and cryptocurrencies in general. Now, of course, guys, a lot of the topics that come up in these questions are very dense and they are going to be cut down to a more precise manner. However, there are other videos that I do have that do explore these subjects in more detail. Now, if you are enjoying this kind of content, don't forget to like and comment below. It really does help the channel out. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell just to keep up to date with all the new content that I'll be uploading. Now, as usual, just going to go for our quick disclaimer. Pause the screen if you do need to, guys. It's very important. Everything that I speak about in today's video, and in fact all of my videos, are my own personal thoughts, opinions and experiences. None of this, guys, is financial advice. You have to understand that. I'm not telling you to go and do this, that or the other. And anything that you do get into, especially in the crypto space, make sure that you do your own research and your own due diligence. The responsibility lies on you. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get going. Now, I hear a lot of people asking more or less the same basic questions about Bitcoin and of course blockchain technology. And through all my research that I've been doing for my previous videos, I've compiled a basic list of answers. So I thought I'll put them all in one video just to answer hopefully all your questions that you may have relating to the crypto space. Please note though, understanding cryptocurrencies is a steep learning curve. There are a wide range of terms and they require the ability to separate truth from opinion. Now, whether or not Bitcoin has intrinsic value will depend on people across the entire world. Although there are several major players, like mining pools in China, that have a huge impact on Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency is not owned or operated by any company, state or country. That's why it's messy and unfamiliar. It's constantly generating a storm of conflicting news reports and editorials. So that's why I'm going to be trying my best to keep the answers short and to the point as much as possible. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin was launched in 2009 by an anonymous creator who goes by the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. Bitcoin is the most well-known and most widely adopted cryptocurrency. There is no physical coin anywhere, just a string of numbers. It's also an asset and a payment platform with a digital ledger that spans the world, combining global transactions onto a single system. Based on a technology known as the blockchain, which we'll be discussing later on in this video, Bitcoin exists as ledger entries across a distributed, decentralized computer network with no central authority or government overseeing it. By employing blockchain technology in combination with sophisticated encryption, Bitcoin offers a way to securely send digital money in a truly peer-to-peer fashion. Bitcoin can also move fluidly across borders without intermediaries. Unlike fiat currency that needs to be converted from USD to euros to yen, Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. So someone in Atlantic City can send Bitcoin to someone in Paris, like someone in London can send an email to someone in Hong Kong. Put it this way, if paper money is a CD, Bitcoin is an MP3. Bitcoin is also good at moving huge lump sums for big expensive assets, which is why many wealthy investors use it to buy homes, yachts and Lamborghinis. What is blockchain and how does it work? Blockchain and how it works defines how Bitcoin works. In essence, the blockchain is the digital ledger used to keep track of the location of each Bitcoin. Anyone can download a copy of that ledger, which is updated automatically as new transactions are added. Because copies of the ledger are distributed across thousands of computers, it's impossible for any one person or group to change the entries or spend the same Bitcoins twice. Digital currencies are the best known use of the technology, but companies are now investing millions in trying to figure out other uses for it, such as keeping track of supply chains and items in the sharing economy. Is there only one blockchain? No, there are several different blockchains. Ethereum, for example, has its own blockchain. Other cryptocurrency development teams are also working on their own blockchains. For example, IBM and Samsung have their own blockchains, although whether they're decentralized or not is somewhat of a question. But going back to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is the oldest and longest blockchain, containing the greatest number of transactions. How do you buy Bitcoin? Bitcoin can be purchased using traditional currencies such as dollars, but it can also be purchased using other digital currencies such as Ethereum or Litecoin. There are several online exchanges where you can buy, sell and trade Bitcoin. If you just click the show more button in the description below, I do have some recommended exchanges and platforms that you can use. How do you store or save your coins? The safest way to store your Bitcoins is to use what is called cold storage. This is where you store your reserve of Bitcoins offline. It could be on a USB flash drive or a paper wallet. Then people can keep them in a safety deposit box or somewhere else secure. The key is that it's offline and not connected to the internet, so your coins can't be hacked. Some people do save them on their computers or on exchanges, but again, safety for some is a concern. If you want to find out more on how to store your Bitcoin safely, check out the card on the top right corner of your screen and you'll find the video there. How do you invest in Bitcoin? Many buyers of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies believe that these technologies can revolutionize the financial world and disrupt the status quo. They see Bitcoin as an asset similar to gold, and they follow a long-term buy and hold strategy. True believers call this HODL, H-O-D-L. This was originally a typo for hold on a discussion forum many years ago, and users now take it to mean hold on for dear life. If you want to HODL your coins, you'll want to transfer your holdings to a Bitcoin wallet where you can keep them as safe as possible until you're ready to use them or sell them. Now, of course, I don't do too much hodling myself because I like to trade my Bitcoins daily. However, this is something to be aware of. There are many other ways to invest in Bitcoin, and some examples are leverage trading as well as core compounding. Was Bitcoin created by criminals to launder money? No one knows the identity of Bitcoin's alleged creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, who has claimed authorship of the original Bitcoin white paper first published in October 2008. Nevertheless, a popular narrative about its creation is that it was made by criminals for criminal activities. Many believe that Bitcoin was in fact created as a response to the financial crisis of 2007-2008, when big banks were bailed out while people lost their homes through foreclosure. It was a time when average citizens became disenchanted with derivatives, bank loans, and other traditional investment instruments invented by the banking system that led to high inflation, bubbles, and epic bursts. How does Bitcoin work? Bitcoin works by recording every transaction that takes place on its network in all nodes of the network. This redundancy ensures that a bad actor cannot change or delete a transaction by undermining a single point of failure. Each user of the Bitcoin system has a public-private encrypted key pair, and they use their public keys as their account number or address. For instance, if Alice sends 1 Bitcoin to Bob, she will send it to Bob's public key address. Transactions themselves are validated and added to the blockchain ledger through a process called mining, which also is the method by which new Bitcoins are introduced to the system. What's a Bitcoin address? A Bitcoin address is a digital string of numbers and letters you need in order to send and receive Bitcoin. They usually contain 26 characters. Your friend, for example, will have a different Bitcoin address than you do. When your friend tells you their Bitcoin address, you can send them Bitcoin. Do I need a bank to get a Bitcoin address? No, this is why the banks are afraid of Bitcoin. You don't need a bank. You literally just need a Bitcoin address. How can I get a Bitcoin address? In a more primitive form, you can actually get an address by creating one all by yourself on the computer. You can use Bitcoin Paper Wallet or VanityGen and several other platforms. However, most nowadays are given totally random and unique addresses by the wallets they download. I'm not a techie and I don't know anyone who will send me Bitcoin. How do I get some Bitcoin? Well, you can sign up with an exchange like Coinbase, Changelly or CoinMama to purchase Bitcoin with your chosen currency. Or you can even use peer-to-peer marketplaces like localbitcoins.com or Paxful, where you can buy and sell Bitcoin from individuals directly. Now, there are pros and cons to either methods. I have done a full in-depth review of Paxful, so again, you can check that out in the cards section. Do I have to buy a whole Bitcoin? No. You can buy, sell and trade fractions of a Bitcoin. These fractions are commonly known as Satoshis, Sats, or in some cases dust. What's with the QR codes that accept Bitcoin? Well, you might have seen these kind of barcode looking things. These are your addresses essentially. When you scan a QR code, it will reveal a unique address. QR codes are a handy way of transmitting the long string of characters from a physical paper to a device. For example, you may see a QR code on the menu of a restaurant that accepts Bitcoin. When you use a mobile app to scan the QR code, it can instantly generate the address associated to that actual code. Now you can send a Bitcoin payment to that address without needing to type in the long string of characters. Is Bitcoin a cult? Cults are often defined as entities that attract devout followers who share a belief system and who remain emotionally invested in a mission, concept, or idea. Critics often point out that Bitcoin has reached cult status because you can't hold it. It's just some fluffy puffy stuff out there in the cloud. But if we were to use this definition, we'd find every religion that shares a belief in God a cult too. Critics also note that Bitcoin isn't backed by a nation state. You don't need a passport to join in the craze. But the same goes with the internet, right? Is Bitcoin a hedge? Bitcoin on one side is largely considered to be too volatile to be a reliable hedge against stock market moves, for example. At the same time, if an economy collapses and people continue to trade Bitcoin, it could be a hedge against local currency. Aren't government-backed currencies better than Bitcoin? Historians have chronicled the collapse of many currencies. Germans remember when the Deutschmark got divorced from the gold standard at the outbreak of World War I, and when their new currency wiped out the old money after World War II at a rate of 1 new unit per 10 old units. The Venezuelans and Zimbabweans have all watched their government-backed currencies nosedive amidst hyperinflation and corruption. These are not the only unstable economies whose policies have drastically altered or hyperinflated their national currencies. Meanwhile, US financial analysts are sounding the alarm about a looming global catastrophic financial crisis. Where there is money, there are shenanigans, economic wars, and complexities. Bitcoin, which has a fixed supply, is an attempt to address money problems through a digital system that cannot easily be manipulated by central banks. At the same time, Bitcoin is still in its infancy with its own set of hiccups like slow transaction speeds, limited adoption, and exchanges that have been hacked. In other words, it's a hot debate. There are also lots of hubris in a statement claiming that money, which is an invention, will continue to outperform any new technology that attempts to replace it. What is Bitcoin mining? We briefly mentioned Bitcoin mining previously. Bitcoin mining is the mechanism by which new Bitcoins are brought into existence. At the same time, it is the way that transactions are validated and confirmed on the blockchain. Mining involves solving a computationally difficult cryptographic puzzle, similar in some ways to an enormous game of Keno, where the winner is determined by chance according to probability alone. The participant in the mining network who is able to solve the puzzle first claims as their reward newly minted Bitcoins, currently, which is now 6.25 BTC per block, as well as the accumulated transaction fees associated with that block. How do you mine for Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is an open source system, so anybody can join the network as a miner. Mining isn't easy though. Miners need specific hardware designed to solve the cryptographic mining puzzle using dedicated microchips known as ASICs, or by rigging together a series of graphics processor units, or GPUs for short, which have been found to solve cryptocurrency mining puzzles better than traditional CPUs. Once you have your hardware, you'll probably want to join a mining pool that aggregates individual mining efforts from all over the world and concentrates that effort. If the pool solves the mining puzzle, each member of the mining pool receives a prorated amount that corresponds to how much mining power they contributed. How many Bitcoins are there in the world? One unique feature of Bitcoin is that there can only ever be just shy of 21 million coins in circulation. So far, approximately over 17 million have been produced, which is almost 80% of the total supply. In addition, the rate of new Bitcoin creation is fixed at an average of one block, which is currently 6.25 BTC as we said, every 10 minutes. This block reward also reduces over time, so that every 4 years or so, the number of Bitcoins found on the block is cut in half. When Bitcoin was first launched, there was a reward of 50 BTC per block, and just recently, that amount has been reduced to 6.25 BTC per block. This is what relates to the halving. How much is Bitcoin worth? Well, as of today's date, which is the 9th of June 2020, one Bitcoin is approximately worth $9,700. As recently as December 2017, as we know, the price of Bitcoin rose to nearly $20,000 amid increasing speculative interest, global demand, and of course manipulation. To put this in perspective, a Bitcoin was worth less than $1 from 2009 to 2011, less than $100 until 2013, and less than $1,000 until 2017, excluding a short price spike to $1,200 or so in late 2013. There are lots of questions around what Bitcoin's price should be, with some claiming it has zero intrinsic value and others claiming that it could be worth as much as $100,000 per Bitcoin or more. So finally, I'm just going to round up these frequently asked questions to the one that keeps getting asked again and again, and I'll just give you a different take on it. So what is Bitcoin again? Bitcoin is a new technology, and it's unlike anything that's ever been created in the modern world. Trying to define it has led to fierce debate. It has been called many different things: currency, money, a payment solution, a blockchain, gold, an asset, a cryptocurrency, garbage, a Ponzi scheme, a fraud, a brilliant scam, and so on. The debate continues. Alright guys, well that just about wraps up our frequently asked questions on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. If there is a question that I haven't answered for you today, please put them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And if I can, I'll try and answer it in more detail in a new video. Or it might be a case that I've actually already answered that question in one of my previous videos, which I'll just direct you to. Well, with that being said, hope you've all enjoyed it. Please make sure you've subscribed and you've hit the likes and all that kind of jazz, just to keep me going as a channel. It's always very encouraging to see the support that I get on here, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.